Here's something that'll mess with your head. Guy buys a $50,000 car, doesn't touch his savings, doesn't go into debt. 5 years later, he still has the car and the $50,000. Meanwhile, his coworker bought the same car, paid cash like a responsible adult, and now he's got a depreciating asset worth maybe 25 grand and zero savings. Same car, same purchase, completely different financial realities. And here's what's crazy. This isn't about making more money. Both guys earn the same income. The difference? One drained his savings to buy the car. The other used his assets to buy it. And that distinction changes everything. I'm breaking down 5 strategies rich people use to buy expensive things without losing money, and why the financial system is literally designed to reward people who already have assets while punishing everyone else. Stick around to the end, because strategy number 3 is the mind-bending infinite return concept that lets you recover your investment while keeping the asset. Hit subscribe and comment "broke bought it" if you've drained savings for something expensive, or drop "assets paid" if you're already playing this game. Now let me show you 2 people with identical incomes who ended up in completely different financial universes. The core shift: assets pay, you don't? Alright, here's the fundamental difference between people who stay broke and people who build wealth. And it's not about how much you make, it's about the flow of money through your life. Normal people play the game like this. Work your tail off, get a paycheck, buy stuff with that paycheck, money's gone, work more to get another paycheck, repeat until you die. It's an endless hamster wheel. Need a new car? Save from your paycheck, buy the car, savings depleted, start saving again from zero. Want a vacation? Save up, go on the trip, come back broke, grind again. Every single purchase resets your wealth to nothing. You're permanently dependent on the next paycheck. Rich people play a completely different game. They work, sure, but they use that work to buy assets. Those assets generate income, and that income buys the stuff they want. The assets keep growing while simultaneously funding their lifestyle. It's a one-time setup with permanent benefits. So when they need a car, their assets are generating $5,000 a year. And they use that for the car payment. When they want a vacation, assets are throwing off $10,000 annually, and they use that for travel. They never touch the principal. The goose keeps laying golden eggs while they enjoy omelets. Here's the revelation that breaks people's brains. Normal people are using a finite resource, their paycheck, to buy things. There's only so much paycheck. Rich people are using an infinite resource, asset returns, to buy things. Assets keep producing forever if you don't kill them. So stop asking yourself, "Can I afford this?" That's the wrong question. Start asking, "Can my assets afford this?" If your assets can't pay for it yet, you can't afford it. Period. If your assets can pay for it, buy it guilt-free all day long. The man wanted an $80,000 car, had $80,000 saved. The day before buying, his friend asked, "That 80 grand invested at 8% generates $6,400 annually. That covers a car payment easily. Why not invest the money, use the returns for payments, and keep the principal?" He did exactly that. 10 years later, paid off car, still has the $80,000, which is now worth $172,000. The other path? He'd have $0 and a 10-year-old car. Rich people never trade the goose for the egg. They keep the goose, live off the eggs forever. Poor people kill the goose for one meal, then stay hungry. That's the mindset. Now let me show you the exact $50,000 car example that breaks people's brains. Same car, different math. Let me break down the $50,000 car scenario, because this is where people's minds explode. You see a car you want. 50 grand. Beautiful. You've been responsible, saved up for years, and finally got the cash. Time to pull the trigger, right? This is where everything splits into 2 completely different universes. Normal person path. Take that $50,000 you saved, hand it to the dealer, and drive away feeling proud. I paid cash like a responsible adult. Year 5 rolls around. The car's worth is maybe $25,000 because depreciation is brutal. Savings account? 0. You lost 25 grand to depreciation plus the $50,000 opportunity cost of not investing it. Total real cost, 75 grand for a car now worth 25. Congratulations, you just incinerated $50,000 of wealth. Rich person path. Take that 50,000, invest it in assets returning 10% annually. That's 5,000 bucks a year without touching the principal. Use that 5 grand yearly for car payments. Finance the car at 3% interest, payments about $900 monthly, $5,400 annually. After 5 years, the car's paid off, worth the same $25,000. But here's the kicker. You still have the $50,000 invested, which has actually grown to $80,000 with compound returns. Let's add this up. You now own a $25,000 car plus an $80,000 investment. Total assets, $105,000. Your responsible coworker who paid cash, he's got a $25,000 car and nothing else. Same car, same 5 years of driving. One person has $25,000 in assets. The other has $105,000 in assets. $80,000 difference from one decision. The rule that changes everything. Never buy depreciating assets with appreciating assets. Cash compounds. That's appreciating. Cars depreciate, that's dying value. Don't trade something that grows for something that shrinks. A woman saved $60,000 for a kitchen renovation. Financial advisor asked, that 60 grand invested generates 5,000 yearly. What if you invested it and used the returns to slowly upgrade the kitchen over time? She did exactly that. 12 years later, the kitchen's fully renovated, and she still has the $60,000 now worth $150,000. The other option would have left her with $0 and a kitchen that needs updating anyway. Don't spend the money. Spend the money's income. The money you spend vanishes forever. The income you spend regenerates every single year like magic. That's the car example, making it concrete. But here's where it gets really interesting. The first actual strategy that makes this whole system possible. Strategy number 1, asset swap. Never touch savings. So you understand the concept. Now let's get tactical. Strategy number 1 is called asset swap, and it's how rich people expand their empire without ever touching their paychecks or savings. Here's how normal people operate. Want a vacation home? Start saving from your paycheck. Takes 5 years of grinding. Finally, buy the place. Now you're broke again with one vacation home. Back to square one, rebuilding from zero to buy the next thing. It's financial Groundhog Day. Reset, rebuild, die. Asset swap flips this completely. You don't use your paycheck or savings to buy new assets. You use existing asset income to buy new assets. Your money never gets involved. Example time. You own a rental property generating $2,000 monthly. Nice. Now you want that vacation home. $300,000 needs $60,000 down. Here's the move. Don't save 60 grand from your paycheck over 3 years. Use the rental income to save it. Takes about 2.5 years, but your paycheck never gets touched. It's still free to invest in something else or just live on. Now you own the original rental, still cranking out income, plus a vacation home. Your paycheck didn't fund either one after the first property. The system is feeding itself. This is how wealth multiplies. Asset 1 generates income. Income buys asset 2. Asset 2 generates more income, which buys asset 3. The ecosystem expands while your personal income stays completely untouched. It's like planting apple trees. The first tree takes work to plant, but that tree drops seeds, those grow into more trees, and suddenly you've got an orchard without planting anything else. Meanwhile, normal people are stuck in this soul-crushing cycle. Paycheck buys asset 1. They're broke. Rebuild savings. Paycheck buys asset 2, broke again. Every purchase is a complete reset to zero. Guy bought his first rental property, took all the income for 3 years, didn't spend a penny of it, used it as a down payment for rental number 2. Second rental's income accumulated for 4 years and bought the third property. The third rental income surpassed the fourth in 3 years. 10 years total. Owns 4 rentals generating serious monthly cash flow. Only paid for the first one from his actual paycheck. Assets 2, 3, and 4, paid for by asset 1. He paid once, and the system multiplied itself. The first asset is the hardest because you have to pay for it with your own money. But every asset after that, your assets pay for them. Your only job is getting to asset number 1 as fast as humanly possible. After that, you just watch the machine build itself. But that's just the expansion strategy. Here's something even more powerful. The strategy that keeps you from ever having to sell your assets. Strategy number 2. Borrow against assets, never sell. Alright, this strategy is what separates people who understand wealth from people who accidentally destroy it. It's called borrowing against assets, and banks absolutely love it when rich people do this. Here's the scenario. You need $100,000 for something. Down payment, business investment, emergency, whatever. Most people have 2 terrible options. Sell investments and trigger massive taxes, or drain savings and stop compound growth. Both options nuke your wealth and reset you to zero. There's a third option nobody talks about. Rich people never sell assets to get cash. Ever. They borrow against them instead. Real example. You've got $1 million investment portfolio growing at 8% annually. That's $80,000 in growth every year just sitting there compounding. Now you need $200,000 for a real estate down payment. The broke move? Sell 200 grand of investments. You just triggered capital gains taxes. There goes 30 to 40,000 immediately. Plus, you murdered the compound growth on that 200,000. Gone forever. The rich move? Borrow 200,000 against your portfolio at 3% interest. That costs you 6,000 a year. But your $1 million portfolio is still growing at 80,000 annually because you didn't touch it. Let's do the math. 80,000 growth minus 6,000 interest equals 74,000 net ahead. Plus you avoided 30,000 in taxes. You're over $100,000 richer by borrowing instead of selling. This is the magic spread. The borrowing rate is 3%. Growth rate is 8%. The difference is 5% free money on 200,000. That's 10 grand a year you're making by using the bank's money instead of yours. And here's what makes this even better. Banks give rich people the lowest interest rates because the loan is backed by assets. It's basically risk-free for them. Poor people pay 15 to 25% interest because they have nothing to borrow against. Rich people pay 2 to 4% because they have everything. The system literally rewards you for already having money. Wild. The woman had a $500,000 portfolio and needed $150,000 for a business opportunity. The financial advisor stopped her from selling. Borrow at 3.5%. Your portfolio grows at 9%. You're literally making 5.5% spread on borrowed money. She borrowed it, and the portfolio grew to $700,000 over 5 years, while the business crushed it. If she'd sold those investments, portfolio would have been $350,000, growing to $530,000. Borrowing kept her $170,000 richer. Same $150 used, massively different outcome. Never sell the goose. Use the goose as collateral. Let the goose keep working while you borrow against its future eggs. It sounds simple, but the hardest part is what's about to be told next, because borrowing against assets is intermediate level. This next strategy is advanced and it's absolutely mind-bending. Strategy number 3, infinite return. Recover investment, keep asset. Alright, buckle up because this strategy is going to break your brain in the best possible way. It's called infinite return, and it sounds like financial wizardry, but it's completely legal and surprisingly simple. Here's the concept that makes people's heads explode. What if you could recover your entire initial investment while still keeping the asset that's producing income? Sounds impossible, right? Like having your cake, eating it, then magically having the cake reappear so you can eat it again. But this is exactly what smart investors do with real estate. Real example time. You buy a $300,000 rental property. Put $60,000 down. That's your skin in the game. You rent it out, tenants cover the mortgage, property cash flows nicely. 10 years pass, The property's now worth $450,000 because real estate appreciates. You owe $150,000 on the mortgage. Your equity? $300,000. Here's where the magic happens. You refinance and pull out $60,000, your exact original down payment. You just recovered your initial investment. But here's the kicker. You still own the property. It's still worth $450,000. It's still rented, still producing cash flow, still appreciating. Let's process what just happened. Your original investment was $60,000. Your current capital invested in this deal? $0. You pulled it all back out, but you still own an asset worth $450,000 that's generating income. This is what infinite return means. You're making money on $0 invested. The property is literally working for free now. And this is where it compounds like crazy. Take that recovered $60,000, use it as a down payment on rental property number 2. Wait some years, refinance that one, pull out another $60,000. Now you're using the same initial $60,000 on property number 3. Eventually you own multiple properties, all from that one initial investment that keeps recycling. An investor bought a rental for $250,000 with $50,000 down. 8 years later, the property is worth $400,000, he owes $160,000, equity is $240,000. Refinanced, pulled out $100,000, kept the property rented and cash flowing. Used that $100,000 as down payments on 2 more rentals. Now owns 3 properties from the initial $50,000. Fast forward another decade. All 3 are worth $1.2 million combined, owes $600,000 total, net worth $600,000. Started with $50,000, turned it into $600,000 in equity, still growing. That's the power of recycling capital while keeping assets. Don't let your money sleep trapped in equity doing nothing. Extract it, redeploy it, multiply it. The asset stays and works forever. Your capital moves and works everywhere. The same money employed infinitely many times across infinitely many assets. Do you see anything unusual? The answer is right here. Because infinite return is powerful for real estate, but there's a simpler strategy most people with regular jobs can use immediately. Strategy number 4, buy through business pre-tax dollars. Here's a strategy that makes employees feel absolutely robbed once they understand it. And honestly, they should feel that way. Because the tax code is designed to punish employees and reward business owners, and nobody talks about it. Let me show you the math that'll make you angry. You're an employee earning $10,000. Taxes hit you first. Federal, state, FICA, the whole gang takes about $3,500. You're left with $6,500. Now you go buy a laptop for work. $6,500 laptop, paid with after-tax money. But to earn that $6,500 after tax, you had to earn $10,000 pre-tax. That laptop effectively cost you $10,000 in earnings. Now watch what happens if you're a business owner. Your business earns $10,000 in revenue. You buy that same $6,500 laptop as a business expense. Now your taxable revenue is only $3,500. You pay tax on $3,500, which is about $1,225. Total cost, $6,500 for the laptop plus $1,225 in taxes equals $7,725. You just saved $2,275 compared to the employee buying the same laptop. Same laptop, 22% cheaper for the business owner. And this applies to so much more than laptops. Car used for business? Deductible. Phone? Deductible. Home office space? Deductible. Professional development courses? Deductible. Travel for business? Deductible. Meals with clients? 50% deductible. The list goes on and on. Business owners are spending pre-tax dollars. Employees are spending post-tax dollars. It's an instant 30 to 40% discount on everything for business owners. The system is literally designed this way on purpose. Now, I'm not saying commit tax fraud. Don't expense your family vacation to Cancun as a business retreat unless it actually is. But if you legitimately run a business and have legitimate business expenses, you'd be financially stupid not to run them through the business. It's legal. It's encouraged. The IRS wrote the rules this way intentionally to incentivize business ownership and risk-taking. The consultant was earning $150 as an employee. Quit. Started an LLC, contracted back to companies for $180 doing the same work. Bought a laptop, phone, home office setup, and car. Used 60% for business. Wrote off $33,000 in completely legitimate expenses. Taxable income dropped from $180 to $147. Saved $11,000 in taxes while getting all that stuff. As an employee, he would have paid full tax on $150, then bought everything after tax. Being a business owner saved him over $15,000 yearly. Employees get taxed, then spend what's left. Business owners spend on legitimate business needs, then get taxed on what's left. The order completely changes how much you keep. All of the above will be meaningless if you miss this last detail, because business expenses are tactical wins, but here's the long-term wealth builder that creates the real empire. Strategy number 5. Real estate equity snowball. This last strategy is how regular people turn one house into a real estate empire without selling anything. It's called the equity snowball, and most people accidentally destroy it by doing the exact opposite of what they should. Here's how most people use real estate completely wrong. Buy a house, live in it for 10 years while paying down the mortgage. Equity builds slowly. Finally, decide to unlock the equity by selling. Buy a bigger house. Mortgage resets to 30 years. Equity's trapped again. Rinse and repeat every decade. You're on a treadmill going nowhere, constantly resetting to zero, never actually building compounding wealth. Rich people play it totally different. They buy a house, build equity through payments and appreciation. Then, and this is the key, they borrow against that equity using a HELOC or cash-out refinance. Use that borrowed money as a down payment on a second property. Now they have 2 appreciating assets. Do it again with the second property. Now 3 assets. The snowball effect kicks in and wealth multiplies exponentially. Let me show you the exact math. You buy a $300,000 house with $60,000 down. Fast forward 10 years. The house is now worth $450,000. You owe $200,000. Equity is $250,000. Most people would sell here. Take the $250, buy a $500,000 house, put the $250 down, start over with 1 property and 1 mortgage. But watch this movie instead. You get a HELOC for $100,000 against your equity. Use that $100,000 as a down payment on a $500,000 rental property. Now you own your primary home worth $450 plus a rental worth $500. That's $950,000 in total assets. Combined mortgages are $300,000. Your net worth is $650,000. If you'd sold instead, you'd have one house worth $500,000 with a $250,000 mortgage. Net worth is $250,000. Same initial investment. $400,000 difference by not selling. A couple bought a home for $250,000 with 20% down. Paid an extra $500 monthly on the mortgage for 7 years. House now worth $380,000, owed $140,000, equity $240,000. Got a HELOC for $100,000. Used it as a down payment on a $450,000 duplex. Rented both units. 5 years later, the primary home is worth $480,000, the duplex is worth $550,000. Total $1.03 million in assets. If they just paid the regular mortgage without the equity snowball strategy, one house is worth $480,000. That extra $500 monthly for 12 years, $72,000 total, turned into $550,000 in additional assets through leverage. Equity is dormant wealth sitting there doing nothing. Activate it by borrowing against it to buy more assets. Each property compounds independently. Never sell and reset to zero. Build an equity empire by recycling equity into new appreciating assets. Wait, there's something you need to pay attention to. Because all these strategies work, but they only work if you understand one critical truth about how the system itself operates. The system rewards assets. Here's the uncomfortable truth nobody wants to say out loud. The financial system is rigged. Not illegally, not secretly. It's openly, structurally designed to reward people who already have assets and punish people who don't. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Let me show you how brutal this is. You have no assets? You need to borrow money. Credit card charges you 18 to 24% interest. Personal loan, 10 to 15%. Car loan, 6 to 8% if you're lucky. Mortgage is difficult to even qualify for, and you're paying 6 to 7%. Investment loans, not even available to you. Now let's say you have assets. Portfolio line of credit, 2 to 4% interest. Mortgage, easy to qualify, best rates available. Business loan with collateral, low rates. Bridge loans, suddenly available. Margin on your brokerage account, 3 to 5%. Same person. Wildly different interest rates based purely on assets owned. And it gets worse with taxes. No assets? Your income gets taxed at 25 to 37% federal. Every purchase you make is with after-tax money. No deductions. No write-offs. Maximum tax burden. With assets, business expenses are pre-tax. Mortgage interest is deductible. Investment losses offset gains. Real estate depreciation shields income from taxes. Your effective tax rate drops dramatically, even though you're making more money. The system is designed to reward capital and punish labor. More assets equal a lower cost of money plus lower taxes. No assets equals a higher cost of money plus higher taxes. It's a double punch to people trying to climb out. And here's the really messed up part. Getting your first asset is hardest because you're dealing with the highest interest rates, highest taxes, most expensive version of the game. But once you cross the threshold into asset holder status, everything flips. Rates drop 5 to 10%. Tax strategies open up, leverage becomes available. The positive feedback loop starts running. Guy spent 5 brutal years building a $50,000 portfolio. Those 5 years were painful. High rent, high interest on everything, paying full taxes on every dollar. Once he hit 50 grand, got a portfolio line of credit at 3.5%, used it to buy a rental property. Property equity opened a HELOC, suddenly had access to cheap money. Next 5 years, he built $300,000 in net worth using leverage. The first 5 years felt impossible. The second 5 years felt easy. Same person. Crossing that asset threshold changed the entire game. The system isn't fair, but it's predictable. Without assets, everything costs more. With assets, everything gets cheaper. Your only job is getting to that asset threshold as fast as humanly possible. Then the system that punished you suddenly starts rewarding you. Don't jump to conclusions, because what comes next can change your perspective completely. The practical path from absolute zero to playing this game for real. The practical path, zero to asset income. Alright, I know what you're thinking. This all sounds amazing, but I'm literally starting from zero. I can barely afford rent. How the hell do I build my first asset when I'm living paycheck to paycheck? Fair question. Everyone starts from zero. The gap between zero and the first asset is absolutely the hardest part, but it's doable with a system. And here's the brutal, honest timeline. Phase 1. Sacrifice phase, years 0 to 3. This is gonna suck. Accept it. Live below your means. Cheaper apartment than you want. Roommates if necessary. Drive that old car into the ground. No lifestyle inflation when you get raises. Every possible dollar is redirected to building that first asset. Side hustle if you can manage it. Painful? Absolutely. Permanent? No. Necessary? 100%. Target. Build 25 to 50,000 investments or save a down payment. Phase 2, first asset, years 3 to 5. Deploy that capital into something that produces income. Index funds with dividends. Small rental property, a business that generates actual profit. High-yield investments. Whatever you choose must produce income, even if it's only 100 to 500 a month. This is your foundation. Phase 3, protection phase. Years 5 to 7. Do not touch the asset income yet. I know it's tempting, don't. Reinvest everything. Let compound growth accelerate. Build the base to critical mass. Target. Asset income reaches 500 to 1,000 monthly. Phase 4. Lifestyle upgrade, years 7 to 10. Now you can finally use asset income for lifestyle improvements. Buy nicer things with asset returns, not your paycheck. Never touch the principal. Principal keeps growing forever. Upgrade your car? Asset income pays. Better apartment? Asset income pays. Travel? Asset income pays. Phase 5 multiplication, year 10 and beyond. Now you're playing the rich person's game. asset swaps, borrowing against assets, infinite return, business expense strategies, equity snowballs. All the tactics from earlier sections are now available to you. Timeline: 10 years from zero to asset-funded lifestyle. Not fast, not sexy, but certain if you follow the system. Most people never start, or they quit in phase 1 or 2 because it's uncomfortable. The ones who survive phase 1 through 3 make it to phase 4 and 5. That's the filter. The teacher making $45,000 started at 28, lived with roommates, drove an old car, no vacations for 4 years, saved $35,000, bought a duplex, rented the other unit. 3 more years of grinding saved another $30,000 from teaching plus rental income. Bought a second rental. 5 more years, 2 rentals generating $2,400 monthly combined. Now she's 40, still teaching, but rental income covers all her lifestyle upgrades. Nice car paid for by rentals, travels 3 times yearly, paid by rentals, living better than colleagues, making $80,000. 10-year sacrifice for lifetime payoff. Most people won't do it because 10 years feels too long. But 10 years pass anyway, whether you build assets or not. Only question, in 10 years, will you be broke or free? Look, here's everything. Rich people buy expensive things without going broke because assets pay for purchases, not paychecks. David spent his income on lifestyle, stayed broke at $150,000. Rachel built assets first, assets funded lifestyle, built $300,000 net worth on the same income. Core principle: stop buying with finite paychecks, start buying with infinite asset returns. The $50,000 car: normal people drain savings, rich people invest it and use returns for payments. 5 strategies. Asset swap uses income to buy more assets, borrow against assets instead of selling. An infinite return recovers the investment while keeping the asset. Buy through the business with pre-tax dollars. Real estate equity snowball borrows against equity to multiply properties. System rewards asset holders with lower rates and taxes. 10-year path from zero. Sacrifice phase, first asset, protection, then asset-funded lifestyle. This week, calculate what you're buying with your paycheck versus what assets you could buy. If assets can't fund your lifestyle yet, redirect $200 to $500 monthly to build your first asset. Phase 1 starts now. Comment: broke bought it if you drained your savings and regret it. Assets paid if investment fund purchases. Or phase 1 if you're starting today. What next? Comment: best income producing assets for beginners. 2. Real estate with low capital. 3. Side hustles that build assets. 4. Business tax strategies. Rich people don't have more money, they have a smarter structure. Stop trading limited work for unlimited desires. Build unlimited assets to fund desires forever. The $50,000 you spend is gone. The $50,000 you invest in fund purchases forever. Never kill the goose.